Q and Review, celebrating 40 years of audio production, welcomes you to this week's edition of the Glasgow Times Sports Podcast, recorded from our studio in the Bishopbriggs Media Centre and by our volunteers working from home. Keep up to date with Q and Review news via our Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, or Instagram at Q and Review. That's @CUEANDREVIEW, or get in touch with us directly by emailing information@qandreview.com. That's INFORMATION @CUEANDREVIEW.com, or by calling us on 0141 772 3979. Please like and share our podcast and give us constructive feedback.
Evening Times Sport, May 14. The player Clement will not allow to leave Rangers. Report by Graham McGarry. Philippe Clement says that Jack Butland cannot be allowed to leave Rangers for any price in the summer, with the keeper a major part of his plans for next season. The Ibrox manager has admitted that there will be huge changes to his squad going into the new campaign after Rangers once again fell short in the title race, with their defeat to Celtic on Saturday making it all but impossible to overturn Celtic's 6-point advantage in the Premiership table with just 2 games remaining. Butland has been arguably the standout player for Rangers this term, with a string of impressive performances seeing him touted for a return to the England setup under Gareth Southgate. Those displays may lead to interest from suitors south of the border, but Clement is adamant that while some players within his squad have their price, his keeper is indispensable. When asked if he may have to sell some of his key men to finance his rebuild, Clement said, "That depends. But you can only sell players if you are sure you can get better for a lower price. You can then use the extra money that you have for different positions. That can maybe be a decision. But there are also a few players I don't want to let go for any price, like Jack Butland. That is a good example. I think that's a very important thing for this club." Clement says that the groundwork has already been going on for a long time now to build a squad capable of usurping Celtic as champions next term, as he spelled out that fans should expect a major rebuild over the next couple of months. And he continued, "We have been busy with that for months. I cannot put a number on how many we will bring in. I know a number, but I'm not going to put that in the media now. Of course it will be significant, because we have a lot of contracts ending. We do not have unlimited finances, so we need to make the right decisions in the positions and where to spend more and where to spend less. And of course, a story with the Champions League would also change things in that way. We are going to need to be more creative in that as a club, and we need to do it fast, because we have decisive games already in August. Also in the league and in Europe, because we still have a chance to qualify in Europe, but you need your players in fast enough if you only have half a squad in at that moment. So that makes it much more difficult, and in the meantime, you cannot lose points in the league. That is going to be a challenging period for everybody, to make fast decisions, to make good decisions, and to convince people to come here. But I can say that everybody on the board, in recruitment, are very motivated for that, and they are working really hard for that. Report by Graham McGarry. Evening Times Sport, May 14. Carter Vickers emerging as transfer target. Report by David Irvin. Cameron Carter-Vickers is reportedly drawing significant transfer interest from a host of Turkish clubs. The standout Celtic centre-back is said to be a transfer target for several clubs in the Super League this summer. SBI Soccer reports a source close to the player has confirmed interest from a number of Turkish clubs. It said that Carter-Vickers' impressive Scottish Premiership form has led to interest from European clubs ahead of the summer transfer window. However, the report in the United States says Carter-Vickers is happy at Celtic. The centre-back is tied down until 2029 at the club. West Ham and Brentford were credited with an interest in Carter-Vickers during the winter window before the stopper agreed new terms. Brendan Rodgers previously referenced transfer interest in Carter-Vickers when the defender signed his new 5.5-year deal in January and said, "This is great news for us all that Cameron has extended his contract with the club. He has been an absolute rock for us since he joined and has played to such a high standard so regularly, week in, week out. He has been such a pillar of strength in our defence and a real leader in the team. I know he is held in such high regard by his teammates. His qualities as a player, his personality, and his absolute commitment to the game make him a real joy to work with. I know Cam loves the club and the city and really has made Celtic his home, and we are delighted to have him here with us. There has been a lot of talk about the interest in him from elsewhere, but all he has done is get on with his football, decide where he wants to be, and we are delighted that he sees his future at Celtic." Report by David Irvin. Evening Times Sport, May 14. Celtic considering transfer swoop for experienced keeper. Report by Ewan Payton. Celtic are considering a move for Alex McCarthy this summer, according to a report. The Southampton goalkeeper has emerged as an option for the Premiership champions-elect, with Liverpool and Newcastle also believed to be interested. The Daily Mail reports that the 34-year-old is someone Hoops boss Brendan Rodgers has previously looked at. Celtic, of course, need to bolster the goalkeeping department, with Joe Hart set to retire. McCarthy has been impressive for Saints this season and was outstanding in the first leg of their Championship playoff semi-final with West Brom. He regained his place from number 1 Gavin Bazunu after he ruptured his Achilles last month. As well as Celtic holding an interest, both Premier League sides Liverpool and Newcastle are monitoring any developments as they seek backup options for their first picks. The report states that a number of Saudi clubs have been alerted to his availability. McCarthy has Premier League experience with Reading, Queen's Park Rangers, Crystal Palace and Southampton, and his contract expires at St Mary's at the end of June. Meanwhile, there are major concerns over Jack Butland Rangers transfer exit. Barry Ferguson admits he fears that Jack Butland may depart Rangers this summer. The former Ibrox captain does not want to see the former England number 1 going anywhere in the close season. However, the ex-Scotland international insists It would be naive to think there will not be interested parties in the Premier League. The goalkeeper has been a tremendous success in Glasgow since his arrival from Crystal Palace last summer. His form has been so impressive that Nottingham Forest inquired to sign him during the January transfer window. Butland is under contract until the summer of 2027, so any potential suitor would need to stump up the cash Rangers want. But with a squad clear-out required this summer under Philippe Clement, Ferguson has worries that the easiest way to help fund such a recruitment drive would be to sell Butland. He told Go Radio, "He's the concern for me. Jack Butland's come up here, and you saw him again on Saturday. He's a phenomenal goalkeeper, but he is Rangers' prize asset. He's the one that's worth the most money. I am sure there are clubs down in England that would take Jack Butland in a minute, because he's come back up here and shown it. He's played the full season, virtually every single game, and he's been Rangers' best player by a country mile. And that is a major concern for me, that Rangers may lose him, but they might need to go and do something like that to bring in money to go and rebuild the squad. I tell you what, he'll be a hard guy to replace because he's top class." Report by Ewan Payton. Evening Times Sport, May 14. Nick Montgomery sacked by Hibs. Report by David Irvin. Hibs have sacked manager Nick Montgomery. The 42-year-old has been relieved of his duties, with Easter Road Chiefs insisting the decision was necessary. Montgomery's assistants Sergio Raimondo and Miguel Miranda have also left the club with immediate effect. David Gray has been named as caretaker manager for the remainder of the season, his fourth stint in the temporary position. A Hibs statement read, "Hibernian FC can confirm that Nick Montgomery has been relieved of his duties as head coach. In addition, Sergio Raimondo and Miguel Miranda have also left the club with immediate effect. David Gray will take charge of the first team for the remainder of the 23-24 campaign. No further comment will be made at this time." The Gordon family said, "As a board, this was not a decision we made lightly, but felt it is a necessary one to move the team forward. Although Nick and his coaching team worked tirelessly, their efforts did not deliver the results we had hoped for. We would like to thank them for all their hard work and dedication, and wish them all the best for the future. Hibs have endured a disappointing season as they missed out on the top six and won just once in their 3 post-split fixtures. A 3-1 victory over St Johnstone was followed by a 2-1 loss to Ross County, and then a heavy 4-0 defeat at the hands of Aberdeen on Sunday." Report by David Irvin. Evening Times Sport, May 14. Lundstrom could come back in against Celtic. Report by Graham McGarry. Rangers red card sinner John Lundstrom does have a chance of being selected to play against Celtic in the Scottish Cup final, despite drawing the ire of his manager and the Ibrox support for his role in his side's pivotal defeat to their city rivals on Saturday. Lundstrom had already scored an own goal when he lunged into a challenge on Celtic fullback Alistair Johnston and was subsequently ordered off following a VAR check. That left his teammates with a mountain to climb at 2-1 down, and they ultimately lost a match that also saw them lose hope of winning the title. Lundstrom will serve a 2-match suspension, and with his contract up in the summer, he looks to have played his last league game for the club. Some fans, though, have called upon manager Philippe Clement to leave him out of the showpiece showdown at Hampden. When asked what he would say to fans who don't want to see Lundstrom in a Rangers jersey again, Clement said that you always need to see who are the best players at that moment. It's easier from the side to say this one should not have played, but you need to see who is playing then. I see the players every day. I work with them, and me and my staff made decisions around that which is for the best of the club. Every fan of Rangers knows that we want the best for the club, that we want to work hard for this club, that we want to give our lives for this club to make it better again. But Rome was not built on one day. We need a lot of work here after a lot of work that has been done already in the last couple of months. We still have a way to go, but I can promise the fans I will work every minute that I am awake to make their dreams come true. Clement says that his Rangers team are already on their way to doing just that, with the defeat to Celtic not denting his confidence that he has set the club on the right track for success. And he has asked the Rangers fans to stick with him, having been blown away by their level of support since he arrived in Glasgow. He admitted, "I am very disappointed about the result, of course, but I know what happened in the last couple of months. I know also the preparation of the game. I know also the scenario of the game. And I know what people in the building are doing here now to make this club better. And we agree about a lot of things. We have had a lot of decisions around that. And I feel that this is a club that the board and the people in the building all want to work hard to make things better. And things will become better. It's not that I am determined more than ever, because I was really determined when I first stepped into the building. It's just the same. But then you can say more determined in the way that I know the people inside the building better than when I stepped in, and that is a big thing. You know how the people are, and how the fans are. They have been sticking behind the team these last couple of months, after a disappointing few months. It's about working hard together to make this club more and more successful. This club has come from a really deep point. I think it's quite a while ago that this club was fighting for the title when there were fans. We had one season with COVID. It's now about making the right decisions and working hard all together. Report by Graham McGarry. Evening Times Sport, May 15. Celtic defender reveals foul left 11 stud marks. Report by Michael Lindsay. Celtic right-back Alistair Johnston has revealed that John Lundstrom's foul on him at Parkhead on Saturday left him with no fewer than 11 stud marks on his leg, and endorsed Willie Collum's decision to show the Rangers midfielder a red card after a VAR check. Sky Sports pundit Kenny Miller was incensed when Collum rescinded his yellow card and ordered the Ibrox player off after watching a replay of the rash challenge on the pitchside monitor in added-on time at the end of the first half. However, Johnson has recalled how Lundstrom's wild lunge ripped his sock and left him covered in blood, as well as fearful the ankle which he required an operation on at the start of last season might have been badly damaged. The Canadian international, who helped the Scottish champions to win 2-1 and move 6 points ahead of their city rivals at the top of the Singe Premiership table, with 2 games remaining, felt the match official handled the situation correctly and used the new technology well. He said, "In the moment I was concerned, just because it was the ankle I did previously. That was the one that nearly ended my season last year when I had to get surgery. So I was a bit worried, but luckily they did some tests on it and structurally it was good. It was just swollen and pretty bruised, which kind of affected the mobility of it and my confidence in it for the rest of the match. But structurally it was sound, and that was the most important thing. But I knew it was bad. My socks were ripped and I had blood everywhere. So I had a feeling this one might need to go to VAR. I saw the yellow come out and, to be fair, I saw the ball 30 yards away and thought maybe he did win the ball. But he definitely won me as well. I didn't realise how bad it was until I saw the replay of it. In the moment he caught me pretty good, but it looked even worse than it was. A gash went halfway up my leg as well and down the side of it. I knew in the moment it probably was not a great challenge, and that's why VAR is here. You can have a look at those tackles again to really see what happened. I think there are quite a few good freeze frames I've had sent to me that painted a pretty straight picture of what happened. I thought that was what VAR was for, to eradicate decisions where they might have missed something. I thought that one was pretty black and white, so whatever the controversy was afterwards, I think they made the right call, and I think it was a pretty open and closed case. I am all for a big challenge as a defender, but again, I think that's what VAR is there for. He caught me pretty good, but it almost could have looked in real time like he did win the ball, and I just kind of got caught in the middle of it. When you slow VAR down, you see that no, he got me, and I actually kicked the ball. It was the right call at the end of the day, and I don't think anybody would have any complaints about it. Thankfully, I didn't need any stitches, but I do have about 11 stud marks on my leg. You can count them. I was a bit worried it might be the end of my game. But it was different to last year's ankle injury when I got up, tried to put weight on it, and it did not feel structurally strong at all. This one, I just felt it would potentially hinder me a bit in terms of my mobility. That's something as a defender, especially when you're playing against a team like that, where they're going to be direct, and they're going to play off second balls. So I was worried how it might affect me in terms of making a split-second decision or turning. So that was more the safe option to come off when it was a bit swollen and sore. I was just happy. We ran through all the tests and structurally everything was right. It was just about getting the swelling out and everything feels better now. Report by Matthew Lindsay. Evening Times Sport, May 15. Willie Collum named Head of Refereeing. Report by Joe Donnelly. Willie Collum has been appointed Head of Refereeing at the Scottish Football Association, bringing an end to almost 30 years of officiating the game in Scotland. In doing so, Collum promises to help improve the implementation of VAR in the Scottish Premiership. Collum spent 20 years as a Category 1 match official and FIFA international referee, and will leave his current place of employment as a local authority education officer in July to take on the role. He will replace the outgoing Crawford Allen. In a statement, the SFA said 45-year-old Collum's appointment was made following an extensive recruitment process. It read, "The Scottish FA and global sports recruitment experts Elevate Talent compiled a list of experienced applicants from 4 different continents. Willie's experience, leadership responsibilities within the Scottish education system, understanding of the Scottish football landscape, and resilience made him the outstanding candidate." Colum, who took charge of last weekend's Celtic vs Rangers game at Celtic Park, added, "It is my strong view that the role of head of refereeing is responsible to all of Scottish football, not just the association, as I am fully aware of the passion and expectations from clubs, players, supporters, and match officials themselves. I would not have achieved half of what I have as a referee without the support of my colleagues and teammates within refereeing, and my immediate priority is to galvanise the current network of match officials from Category 1 to those taking the field for the first time. I will outline my plan in detail when I start officially, but I was emphatic throughout the interview process that I want to improve, with consultation and consensus, the operation and delivery of VAR for all concerned. I want to use my experience to alleviate the unsustainable burden on our match officials and improve relations and mutual respect between match officials, club officials, players, coaches and fans. I would like to thank Crawford for leading the implementation of VAR, and I know I can count on him for advice during the handover period and along the way. I look forward to getting started." Report by Joe Donnelly. Evening Times Sport, May 15. Hibs fans group seethe at club over Mackay appointment. Report by Ewan Payton. An ultras group connected to Hibs has taken aim at the club over their decision to hire Malky Mackay. The former Ross County manager has been appointed sporting director at Easter Road. The move came just hours after the call was made to sack Nick Montgomery after less than a season in charge. Mackay will oversee all football operations at Hibs and first and foremost will lead the search to appoint a new head coach. However, Block 7 has issued a strongly worded response to Mackay's arrival, insisting they have been insulted by the club as they threaten to protest against his new position. Their statement reads, "The club have announced the appointment of Malky Mackay as sporting director. This is quite simply a disgrace of an appointment. With a track record of being racist, homophobic and misogynistic, he has no place at our club." Just 2 days ago against Aberdeen, the group displayed anti-racism banners to show that it has no place in not only football, but the world we live in. To appoint this man just days later is nothing but an insult to the group for even making that statement in the first place. Furthermore, just 10 days ago, the club released a statement saying, "The club condemns any form of racist or discriminatory behaviour towards any player, official, staff member or supporter. It is completely unacceptable and has no place in the game or wider society. The club will take the strongest possible action against anyone identified in making discriminatory and hateful comments." This man is not welcome at Hibs Football Club, and we will be making that clear. On Mackay's appointment, the Gordon family commented, We would like to welcome Mackie and believe he will be a huge asset to our club and the football department. As the board conducted the football review, it became clear to everyone that not only did we need someone with experience of the Scottish game, but also a person who could help drive us forward, both strategically and operationally. Early in the recruitment process, Malky discussed his strategic vision for Hibs and the necessary framework to deliver success. Everyone at the club looks forward to working with him. Report by Ewan Payton. Evening Times Sport, May 15. Brendan Rodgers tips Hibs-linked Derek McInnes to work at higher level. Report by Matthew Lindsay. Brendan Rodgers has tipped Kilmarnock manager Derek McInnes to land a job at the highest level in the future, and admitted he will be prepared to vouch for the Scot if he is sounded out about his suitability for a vacancy at a leading club in England in the future. Rodgers is a long-term admirer of McInnes, who was yesterday installed as the favourite to take over at Hibs following the sacking of Nick Montgomery, and is unsurprised he has led the Rugby Park club to 4th place in the Cinch Premiership this term. The Northern Irishman knows that his Chargers, who have lost both of their games on the artificial pitch in Ayrshire in the past 10 months, will need to be at their very best to win their penultimate league match this evening. Said Rodgers, he is an excellent manager with great experience. He knows what he wants from his team. You've seen the fantastic job that he did at Aberdeen. Everything that he did there, bringing them to European football, challenging for trophies, making them super competitive. It is arguable that they have not been the same since he left. He's obviously come to Kilmarnock and looks like he's found that again and has an owner that really backs him. He did a great job getting out of the Championship, stabilised in the first year, and then able to build on it. They have been very, very good. I'm not surprised by it. I know Derek and his level. Whatever plaudits he gets, he thoroughly deserves them. He's given great value to his work. Rodgers continued, I have said that I am surprised he has not worked at a higher level before. He obviously had spells down there, Bristol City earlier in his career. I think what Derek has shown is that he is an excellent manager, and I would always speak very highly of him if I was ever asked for any position. I think that will come. He's still young. He's still got a lot of years left as a manager, and he still has the hunger. I've got no doubt he will get that opportunity. He seems very happy in the job that he's doing at Kilmarnock, but I've no doubt that he'll get other opportunities at a higher level. Asked about the meeting with Kilmarnock at Rugby Park this evening, Rodgers said, We expect it will be a tough game for us. We have not been great in the 2 games. We had a half where we were comfortable in the game, and we conceded a couple of poor goals and ended up losing the game 2-1. We are ready for a tough game against a team who are very effective, very well coached, and very well organised. They have got experienced players, and we have to be ready for the duels. We also need to be ready to play our football, and that's what we have been preparing for. Report by Matthew Lindsay. Evening Times Sport, May 15. Kemar Roof confirms Rangers exit. Report by Ewan Payton. Kemar Roof has confirmed he will leave Rangers at the end of his contract, Both he and Borna Barisic waved goodbye to the Ibrox crowd after last night's 5-2 victory over Dundee. Philippe Clement was unhappy with his team, admitting he was angry at half-time during their penultimate Scottish Premiership fixture of the season. A turnaround in the second half saw the home side run out comfortable winners, and it was a fitting end for the players who will exit this summer. Roofe was allowed a cameo appearance at the end of the game. However, Ridvan Yilmaz and youngster Robbie Fraser were preferred to Barisic at left-back on the night. Roofe posted on his Instagram account, "Ibrox, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me." He accompanied it with 2 photos of himself, waving goodbye to the fans, who remained inside the stadium at full time for the lap of honour. Barisic was spotted by eagle-eyed fans passing as he walked around the field, clapping the supporters, with the Croatian looking rather emotional. His future already seems to be tied up, with a deal to join Turkish team Trabzonspor believed to be agreed. The future remains unknown for Roofe at this time, with the 31-year-old leaving, having never reached his potential in Glasgow after signing for £4.5 million in 2020. The deals of both players will expire on May 31. While they received the appreciation of supporters who remained inside the stadium for the end-of-season traditional lap of honour, Ultras group, the Union Bears, were not present to clap the team. They walked out on the full-time whistle as they sent a clear message to the team and board that the season run-in has not been good enough for Rangers. Report by Ewan Payton. Evening Times Sport, May 15. St Mirren qualify for Conference League. Report by David Evan. St Mirren will be playing European football next season. Stephen Robinson's side will compete in the UEFA Conference League qualifying rounds after securing a 5th-place finish in the Scottish Premiership. Dundee's 5-2 loss against Rangers last night guaranteed the Paisley club would take the final European spot in Scotland through their league position. The Buddies are 5 points clear of Dundee, with Tony Docherty's side having just 1 game left, meaning European football in Paisley is mathematically confirmed. Here is everything you need to know about St Mirren qualifying for the UEFA Conference League. In what round do St Mirren enter? The Paisley club will enter the second qualifying round. They will bypass the first round through the Scottish coefficient being high enough for second qualifying round entry. When is the draw? That will take place on June 19. The second qualifying round matches will be played on July 25 and August 1. Who could they play? This is where it gets complicated. A total of 102 teams will be involved in the second qualifying round. The draw will be split into the Champions Path and the Main Path. St Mirren will be in the Main Path alongside 87 other clubs. The Champions Path features the 14 losing clubs of the Champions League Champions Path first qualifying round. The 88 clubs in the Main Path will be split into seeded and unseeded pots. The seeding will not be confirmed until the draw, but it is expected St Mirren will be seeded thanks to Scotland's Association coefficient ranking. For reference, Hibs were seeded entering in the same round last season. Evening Times Sport, May 16. Celtic dominance, a tragedy for Scotland. Report by Ewan Payton. Simon Jordan claims that Celtic's dominance over Rangers, and therefore the rest of the Scottish Premiership, is a tragedy for football in the country. Brendan Rodgers and his players celebrated a 54th league title after a resounding 5-0 win over Kilmarnock last night. Not only did the triumph signal their 12th title in 13 years, but it clinched 3 in a row for the Hoops. Celtic are now just one behind Rangers' title record of 55 and will be aiming to go level with their bitter rivals next season. As part of Celtic winning the league, their automatic space in next season's new-look Champions League format has also been confirmed. This will bring them riches of upwards of £40 million, as the gap between them and the rest of the Premiership potentially could widen. And former Crystal Palace owner Jordan believes their stranglehold over the domestic game in Scotland is a problem for the league. TalkSport host Jim White asked him if Celtic were now regarded as the Manchester City of Scotland. He responded, "Well, 5 of those 13 years, Rangers were not in the league, so they have won 7 out of 8 when Rangers have been participants, which is a dominance. But hasn't it always been such? It's either Celtic or Rangers winning this league. This is the tragedy of the Scottish League, and my disappointment with it about the quality of domestic football in Scotland. Where are the Aberdeens that once upon a time bestowed Europe? Where are the wonderful players that came out of Scotland? Where are the clubs that competed at the highest level? Where are these TV deals and revenues that go into Scottish football? Where are all these things? Where are the great players that come out of Scotland in the past?" Report by Ewan Payton. Evening Times Sport, May 16. Wild Celtic title party outside stadium. Report by Ewan Payton. Celtic's title celebrations went on long into the night outside Parkhead after the club lifted its 54th Scottish Premiership title. Brendan Rodgers and his players partied on Celtic Way with thousands of supporters who arrived outside the stadium to greet their heroes following their 5-0 drubbing of Kilmarnock. Following the scenes of celebration at the end of the game at Rugby Park, those inside the Chadwick stand shared some special moments with the players as they officially secured a 3rd successive league crown. On the night, Celtic were far too good for Derek McInnes's High Flyers, who had nothing to play for, with Adam Ida, Daizen Maeda, James Forrest and a double from Matt O'Reilly sealing the deal. After the game, everyone associated with the champions headed back up the M77 to Glasgow's East End, where there were further celebrations. Fans could be seen gathered with pyro and fireworks as songs were belted out in some jubilant scenes as they rejoiced after seeing off Rangers' title challenge this season. Rodgers told the crowd, "I stood here just under a year ago and there were about 200 people, and I said I'd see you back here in May. We have a few more than 200 here, and this evening is about the players and the staff. The honesty of this group. Everybody was writing them off, but they kept working and were honest to the game and to the club, and tonight they get the reward. So tonight, thank you to the players." Callum McGregor added, "I'm so proud of the players. They have had to show resilience in difficult moments throughout the league campaign. We found our form in the last 5 or 6 weeks, and it's been unbelievable. The Scottish Cup final takes place in a little over a week, on Saturday, May 25. Celtic will go head-to-head with Rangers to fight it out in the season finale, and the skipper wants to see one last push from his teammates, for he added, "We have sprinted over the line, and we've got 10 days to go before we want to win another trophy." James Forrest added, "It's unbelievable, and tonight was incredible. We had a great start to the game, and that's what we want." Joe Hart also spoke with the mic in hand as he expressed his appreciation to the supporters ahead of his impending retirement. Report by Ewan Payton. Evening Times Sport, May 16. Karate fundraiser puts teen on course for World Championship dream. Report by Aidan MacDonald. A member of a Scotstoun karate club is one step closer to achieving her World Championship dream after a recent fundraiser. 15-year-old Layla Monaghan is hoping to attend the competition in Tokyo on Tuesday, July 23, where she is set to represent Scotland. The teenager competes regularly for Japan Karate Shotoren-mei JKS Glasgow, and last Saturday's event at Yarrow Recreation Club on Annisland Road was to help cover some of the costs involved in travelling to Japan. Over £1,800 was raised on the night, and Anne-Marie Egan, Layla's grandmother, opened up on the success of the event when she said, "We still have donations in, and people were so generous on the night. At the start of the night, we were hoping to raise £1,000 to get over the target. That was so brilliant." Between 60 and 70 people turned up, which, given the weather was nice and the Celtic vs Rangers match was on, was a great achievement. The hall was almost full, and everyone really seemed to enjoy the night. Layla's instructor is her dad, Sean McLaren, and he was involved in the fundraiser. As well as the race night, there was a raffle and bingo to help raise funds, and Anne-Marie insists everyone was happy with the event, when she added, "Ever since the fundraiser, people have been messaging me to say how much they enjoyed the evening. It was a fantastic evening. Layla's mum and dad were delighted with the event and the money that was raised. Layla was also really happy, as it takes her one step closer going to Japan. JKS is hoping to send 4 members to the competition this summer. And while this individual fundraiser was to help cover costs for Layla's trip, there are more events planned to help the other members who have been selected. These include a fight night and fortnight gaming evening. And Sean hopes everyone gets the opportunity to attend the competition. He added, "The event will help cover some of the travel costs. Team Scotland will include 35 people. We are all chipping in to help as much as possible, as it will not be cheap. Flights are around £1,500 during the summer holidays, so it will be an expensive trip. I think between the race night and the other fundraisers we are doing, we will hopefully be able to generate enough money to cover the required costs." Report by Aidan MacDonald. Evening Times Sport, May 16. Rodgers joins Neil Lennon in touching Celtic moment. Report by Ewan Payton. Neil Lennon was given a rousing reception by the Celtic fans at Rugby Park last night because Brendan Rodgers made sure of it. The Hoops manager grabbed hold of his fellow club legend before presenting him to the packed-out away end. The crowd gave the pair a huge roar as Rodgers indicated to the fans to make plenty of noise for the Northern Irishman. Lennon, of course, replaced Rodgers in 2019 when he departed for Leicester City. The pair enjoyed the emotional embrace as they took in the scenes of joy among the Celtic faithful. It followed on from Celtic thumping fourth-place Kilmarnock 5-0 in Ayrshire. Adam Ida, Dazin Maida, James Forrest, and a double by Matt O'Reilly sealed the deal, and ultimately a 54th Scottish Premiership title for the Hoops. It marks Rodgers' first trophy since the return to the club last summer, and it now means Celtic have won the crown 3 years on the bounce. Rodgers told Sky, "There's been so much to manage. Not coaching-wise, that's never a problem, but tedious stuff, a couple of words that blow up. But it's been a big learning season. I didn't forget. I know what it's like in Scotland. That's why I came back. It's been an amazing season. The players have delivered when the pressure has been on." Meanwhile, Killie manager Derek McInnes revealed that referee Don Robertson apologised to him at half-time for giving Celtic a helping hand. He said, "It was the toughest 90 minutes we have had to endure. That was partly us, but congratulations to Celtic. I thought they'd have beaten any team in the league tonight. They were strong. We are always professional and give the best account of ourselves, but subconsciously for the players, when you're playing a team much more on their game, it is difficult. They played with intensity and didn't let us breathe. When Adam Ida comes in, he gives them that focal point. The first goal should have been pulled back, and Don Robertson apologised at half-time. He said it was not a foul, but he knew it was a head knock, and he should have stopped the game. It's poor from him, because he's a good official. They did not need a helping hand, but they got one, and they were really good with their work. There was so much wrong with what we did tonight, but a big part was what Celtic were doing." Report by Ewan Payton. Evening Times Sport, May 17. Joe Hart prepares for the future beyond Celtic. Report by Robbie Hanratty. Joe Hart is already looking towards life beyond Celtic. Hart was pictured leading Celtic's dressing room celebrations after that 5-0 rout of Kilmarnock secured the Scottish Premiership title. The 37-year-old only has 2 games left in green and white hoops before he ends a trophy-laden 3-year stay at Parkhead, and he's set to hang up his goalkeeper gloves for good this summer. Celtic will officially lift the league crown when they host St Mirren tomorrow, before Hart is given the opportunity to go out on a high with a Scottish Cup final triumph against Rangers next weekend. After that, he will link up alongside Gary Lineker and company in the BBC studio to cover the upcoming Euro 2024 tournament, which begins with Germany against Scotland on June 14. Several of his Celtic teammates could be involved, and Hart will be eager to show his ability as a pundit. The former Manchester City favourite recently alluded to the fact that he has not attained his coaching badges, and it is believed Premier League productions could offer him a permanent role on their weekly coverage of the English top flight. Speaking at a fan event celebrating his career, the former England number 1 said, "I have not taken any coaching badges. That was quite a conscious decision. I know that coaching and management is ingrained in a lot of people, but for me it does not necessarily do it for me. I want to help, I want to give back, but there's different ways that I can do it. I'll always be available to Celtic if they ever need to lean on me for anything. I have made the manager and the club aware of that, but coaching a specific team, that's not something that I'm looking to do. Report by Robbie Hanratty. Evening Times Sport, May 17. Lennon gets Old Firm reminder in angry Rapid Bucharest row. Report by Mark Walker. Neil Lennon will be entering familiar territory when he takes charge of Rapid Bucharest after a bitter row broke out with city rivals Steaua Bucharest over a lack of tickets for their derby. The former Celtic and Hibs boss is set to complete the shock move to Romania, and it is expected to be announced after this week's derby, the final match of the season. Rapid host Steaua in the 137th meeting between the two rivals in one of the most bitterly contested derbies in Europe, and just like with the Old Firm, the game has been overshadowed by a ticket row after Rapid reduced Steaua's allocation to just 400 fans. Celtic and Rangers have played each other 6 times in a row now with no away fans, although that has finally been resolved for next season with visiting supporters back at Ibrox and Parkhead. But Lennon will walk into a simmering row between the clubs, with Steaua champions and Rapid certain to finish in last place after the season split, having lost all their games. A statement from Steaua Bucharest's official supporters club said, "Once again, Rapid show their dirty character by giving us just 400 tickets for the derby. The club better reciprocate this for their fans next season. We have been given no reason why they have cut our allocation, which is well below the minimum requirement for away supporters in the league." Report by Mark Walker. Evening Times Sport, May 17. Kamara Rangers transfer Windhall state of play. Report by David Irvin. Rangers will receive a 6-figure transfer windfall should Glenn Kamara achieve Premier League promotion with Leeds. The former Rangers midfielder is into the playoff final at Wembley with the Championship club, where they will face either Southampton or West Brom. Leeds finished third in the division this season, missing out on an automatic promotion place. However, they have booked their spot in the playoff final next weekend for a 90-minute showdown with a Premier League place up for grabs. Should Leeds be promoted, then Rangers would bank a near £500,000 transfer windfall through a clause in his transfer deal to join the English club. Rangers received a £5 million transfer fee up front for Kamara, with the Premier League promotion incentive included in the deal. Kamara could come up against former Ibrox teammate Joe Aribo in the playoff final, should Southampton progress to the Wembley showdown. Russell Martin, who had a loan spell at Rangers, is the current Saints manager in another Ibrox link. Evening Times Sport, May 17. Liam Scales hungry for more success. Report by Matthew Lindsay. Liam Scales has stressed that Celtic remain hungry for more silverware after helping the Parkhead club to clinch their 3rd consecutive Scottish title, and have now set their sights on lifting the Scottish Cup and completing a double. Scales celebrated at Rugby Park on Wednesday night after the Parkhead club had beaten Kilmarnock 5-0 to move 6 points clear of Rangers at the top of the Cinch Premiership table with only one game remaining. The Republic of Ireland international had 2 winners' medals to his name from the 21-22 League Cup and Premiership, going into the midweek match down in Ayrshire. But Celtic's latest success meant far more to the 25-year-old centre-half because he has been a regular starter in Brendan Rodgers' first team during the 23-24 campaign. It was, he admitted, the best moment of his career to date. The defender, though, is well aware of the expectations of supporters and appreciates that he and his teammates must focus fully on their remaining 2 matches against St Mirren at Parkhead tomorrow and then Rangers at Hampden 7 days later. Said Scales, "I've won things back home in Ireland, but this feels completely different because of the situation I was in and the turnaround I have had this year. Look, it is just amazing. It is pure joy. We are all buzzing. I never really thought too far ahead of myself back then. I just wanted to play games wherever that would be. And this is probably, well, definitely, the best outcome that could have happened, and I am delighted. Winning things was bittersweet before. You were celebrating because the lads are your friends and your teammates, but you feel you haven't played your part as much as other people, and it's not as good. But I know I can really enjoy this now. I feel an important part of it, and it is much easier to feel and celebrate the emotions of winning it this way. Probably this is the highlight of my career. It's got to be this, winning it in that style. But we want to win on Saturday at home and make it a good occasion for our home fans. Then it's on to the cup final. We obviously want to complete the double. We will celebrate the season as a whole, but I don't think we will be fully satisfied unless we go and win that cup final. We definitely will not switch off. I think you have probably seen over the last few years the mentality of the lads, so I don't think it is possible for that to happen. We know at this club that it is not enough. You need to win every trophy that is available. That is the expectation, and that is the mentality we have. That is the way it is, and I have learned that this season playing. I obviously saw it in the previous years, but being part of it now, you feel it a bit more. It is a given. It is just the way we all think. It is the mentality that we have. Scales has been given an extended run in the Celtic first team by Rodgers this season, and he admitted he was particularly pleased for his manager, who has been targeted by pundits and fans alike this season, when the Parkhead club finally got over the line in the Premiership on Wednesday night. He said, "It has not been a smooth ride for anyone, him included. We have had times when we have not performed well, and he took a bit of criticism for that, like we all did. It is great for him. We are delighted for him. He has been here and done it before. We have always backed him. We always felt he was the man to do it for us." Report by Matthew Lindsay. Evening Times Sport, May 17. Shanklin discusses Scotland's Euro chances. Report by Robbie Hanratty. Lawrence Shankland might just be Scotland's solution at Euro 2024, yet the Hearts' standout remains grounded and focused. The PFA Scottish Premiership Player of the Year reached the 30-goal mark with a stunning finish against St Mirren on Wednesday. Shankland is in the form of his life and is expected to be included among Steve Clarke's 26-man Scotland squad that will jet out to Germany in 4 weeks' time. The 28-year-old striker has been touted to lead the line for his country during that much-anticipated tournament opener on June 14, but he will have to disperse stalwarts Che Adams and Lyndon Dykes in the process. And although he admitted he has not given the Euros too much thought, he knows that finishing the league season strongly at Hearts will be crucial to his chances of being Scotland's main man. The Hearts captain confessed, "I have not really considered it, to be honest. You know it is coming, and to be involved in the last international camp before it, and the opportunity to play, was a big opportunity for me to show I can do the role that is needed in the team. After that, to come away from that camp, disregarding the result, it wasn't too bad a night against the Netherlands, apart from the missed opportunity. I thought I did all right. I won't play against many better defenders than Virgil van Dijk and Nathan Ake. It was a really good test for me, and one I enjoyed it. After that, it was about parking that and back to club football. It is on the horizon now and coming pretty fast. You do turn an eye to it, but the biggest thing is everybody, including myself, will be hoping to stay fit and finish strongly." Asked if he had been keeping an eye on Scotland's Euro opponents, he replied, "Yes. When you look at the semi-finals of the Champions League, you've got a lot of German defenders and some real big names and talents in there. That's what international tournaments are all about, and why you want to go and play against the top-level teams and top opposition players. When you go to the first game against Germany, it is going to be a massive test, but one you can go and thrive on. Look what Wales did not too long ago. They went really far in the tournament. There is always one team who spring a surprise. There is nothing to say it cannot be us." The Queen's Park youth graduate has taken nomadic career route to reach the high-scoring standards that he's currently set, and he understands that he is only weeks away from fulfilling his childhood dreams. He continued, "Of course it's exciting to play at a major tournament. It would be an amazing personal achievement to be involved, and something you dream at as a kid. You watch them growing up, and you always remember your first tournament, the first World Cup, and Euros I remember, a Brazil winning in 2002, and Greece in 2004. They leave good memories. To play in one would be special. Might there be hope Scotland can progress beyond the group stage for the first time in their history?" Shanklin certainly reckons so, and explained, "You never know. We know we have got a good squad. Up until recently, we've had really tough tests. Everything was looking really rosy, but things change. You are playing against top-level opposition. It is going to challenge you, and hopefully from those games we have learned lessons." Report by Robbie Hanratty. Evening Times Sport, May 20. Bacchus bids emotional farewell to St Mirren. Report by Graham McGarry. An emotional Keanu Bacchus has thanked St Mirren and their manager Stephen Robinson for support as the midfielder revealed that the game against Celtic on Saturday was his last for the club. The Australian international is coming towards the end of his contract with the Saints, and Robinson said recently that he had not given up hope that he would accept the offer of a new deal to remain in Paisley. But the 25-year-old has now said that he will be leaving the club as he looks to pursue his dream of playing in England. Said Bacchus, "It's most likely my last game for the club, as I will be moving on. We'll see in the next week or so. I'm still keeping my cards close to my chest a little bit. But coming to St Mirren has been nothing short of a dream come true. From being a young boy, I have always wanted to play professional football. I did that at my home town, and then managed to get some sniffs to go overseas. I chose to come to St Mirren, and I could not have asked for a better place. The staff, the players in the changing room, and the fans have all been outstanding. I then got to go to a World Cup, getting into the top 6 in the Premiership twice, and I go out with the team getting into Europe. Honestly, I could not have asked for a better bunch of boys to work with. It has been a tough decision to make. I had a sniff last year, and it didn't quite work out, but I believe everything happens for a reason. I came back to work hard for the club and do my best to better what we did last year. If I am away, then I wish all the boys and all the staff all the best for their European journey and the next season. I will always watch out for the results and will still feel part of it a bit. I still follow my hometown team in Sydney and look out for them, but I'll be following St Mirren even closer because I was part of the journey getting the club back into Europe. Honestly, I wish them all the best. If he does win a move south of the border, Bacchus is in no doubt that he could not have dreamed of doing so had it not been for the platform that St Mirren provided for him. And he continued, "My dream has always been to play in England, and I have made that clear over the last 12 months or so. I don't want to leave the UK. I want to stay here and do my best in the next place I go. God willing, there will be another World Cup for me too. But my dream has always been to play in the Premier League, and you need good people to push you, and everyone at St Mirren has done that. I could not be more thankful to the boys, the gaffer, the backroom staff, and the fans. I made a big sacrifice to come to Scotland, leaving behind family and friends back home. It's been a great thing for them to watch from afar. I am sure I'm doing everyone proud, and I aim to continue that with whatever comes next. I had sniffs of coming to the UK when I was really young, but I probably was not ready or mentally mature enough for it. I believe I chose the right time to come over, and for me that proves everything happens for a reason. I had Robbo call me and show me the place, and my heart was straight on to St Mirren. I was ready to come as soon as possible, but had some visa problems initially. But when I finally came, I hit the ground running, and the club gave me the platform to progress. I was pushed towards getting into the national team, so it really has been a dream come true. I really could not put it any other words. Report by Graham McGarry. Evening Times Sport, May 20. Clermont in the Scottish Cup final admission. Report by Matthew Lindsay. Philippe Clermont has admitted he may not know his Rangers team for the Scottish Gas Scottish Cup final until 24 hours before the Ibrox club play Celtic at Hampden. The Belgian has concerns over the fitness of Leon Balogun, Borna Barisic, Rabbi Matondo, Abdallah Sima, John Souttar and Ridvan Yilmaz ahead of the meeting with the Scottish champions. Elsewhere, John Lundstrom has missed the last 2 Cinch Premiership games because of the suspension he picked up when he was red-carded in the 2-1 league defeat to the Parkhead club. Clermont, whose side was held to a 3-3 draw by Hearts in their final top-flight outing at Tynecastle, is unsure who will be available to start for the Viaplay Cup winners in Mount Florida, and will not make any early calls on his lineup. And he said, "I don't know yet what the story will be. A player could be fit on Friday and play some minutes, and I need to wait until that moment. I do not like this situation, but it's been that way for a few weeks. We will see." It was positive Abda and Ridwan could take some minutes at Tynecastle. We will see if Leon can be fit again. We are going to see in the week, so in that way it is difficult for me to plan the starting 11 and what players are going to make it. Clermont praised the impact which Rangers youngsters Robbie Fraser, Leon King and Ross McCausland, who scored a second-half equaliser, had against Hearts on Saturday, and expressed hope they can continue to feature going forward. And he continued, "I saw a team fighting and giving their best. Also the young boys. We need to pay attention to the really positive things if you see how the young boys are growing into the team. Ross scored a really good goal, and that was a player last year who had trained only 5 times with the first team all season. Now he has played a lot. It's a pity he was kicked off the pitch for 8 to 10 weeks when his momentum was growing. I see positive things also about Robbie, Cole McKinnon, John Yefko. We are working hard on that, and it's a positive thing." Report by Matthew Lindsay. Evening Times Sport, May 20. Robert McIntyre rewarded for patience at US PGA. Report by Phil Casey. Robert McIntyre reaped the rewards of a patient performance as he recorded his third top 10 finish in a major in the United States PGA Championship. McIntyre went into the final round in Valhalla 3 shots off the lead alongside Ryder Cup partner Justin Rose, but was unable to find the birdies required to stay in contention in a Sunday shootout. But the left-hander ended the week in style as he came close to making an albatross on the par 5 18th before holing from 10 feet for eagle and a closing 70. "It was a great week," said McIntyre, who finished in a tie for 8th with world number 1 Scotty Scheffler, Billy Horschel and Justin Thomas. "First time I feel I've really been in a major championship going into a final round. I did not quite have my best stuff today, but it was solid in the stuff that I've been working on, and more personally and almost emotionally, it really worked. I stayed patient, kind of got my reward, and it's just so pleasing to see that I can stay in the fight, and you don't know what can happen at the end. I got my reward." McIntyre has made no secret of the fact he has struggled to adapt to playing on the PGA Tour this season, but has benefited hugely from a 3-week spell back in Scotland. And he added, "I just feel I'm chasing my tail all the time out here because we are not in the big events. So you've got to play when you get the chance, and it's difficult to do that when you put the clubs away for a few weeks and not touch them. But I'm on good form, good things are happening within my game, and my team around me have been brilliant, and just keep moving forward and keep wanting to go forward." Report by Phil Casey. Evening Times Sport, May 20. Hearts striker Shankland issued with Scotland challenge. Report by Matthew Lindsay. Stephen Naismith has told Hearts striker Lawrence Shankland that his 32-goal haul in the 23-24 campaign will not guarantee him a start for Scotland at Euro 2024 next month. Shankland took his tally for the capital club this season to 31 when he netted the opener in their 3-3 draw with Rangers in a singed Premiership match at Tynecastle on Saturday. The PFA Scotland and the Scottish Football Writers Association Player of the Year, who scored a last-minute equaliser when his country played Georgia in a qualifier in November, is hoping his club form this term will have impressed national team manager Steve Clarke. But Naismith, who won 51 international caps during his own playing career, has stressed the striker will have to maintain his performance levels when Scotland meet up for their pre-tournament friendlies against Gibraltar and Finland. Asked if Shankland's goal return this term made him the front-runner to play in the Group A matches against hosts Germany, Switzerland and Hungary, he said, "I'm not sure that will play a full part because the 3 weeks in the training camp is probably the biggest part. Going into it, he can't be in better form. He has answered a lot of questions in the last internationals, but the next 3 weeks are important. The manager sets eyes on all the players on the training pitch each day. He is in brilliant form, full of confidence. At the start of the season, the question was, does he deserve to be in the squad or not? Now it is, does he deserve to start? Credit to him for getting himself in that position." Naismith admitted he was satisfied with Hearts' performance in their final Premiership fixture against Rangers and over the season as a whole. And he said, "When you have got a 31 goal scorer in the squad, it is going to be hard to dislodge him. But overall, every player in this squad has contributed. There have been tough times for certain individuals, but they have always given their all, and that is why we have had a successful season. They have shown that they are all up for the fight. For your first season as a manager, it's really good. We are comfortable in third, and we got to 2 cup semi-finals. But it is probably more about the progression of the team. From the first game of the season until now, we are a much, much better team. The boys have grown and developed, and some of the older boys have taken on responsibility and have started to lead the group. It has been like that all the way through. We have had the calmness in our play and about us as a squad, and that's why we have been consistently good." Report by Matthew Lindsay. Evening Times Sport, May 20. Susan Aiken depressed after fans' Celtic celebration. Report by Kirsty Fearick. Susan Aiken has said it is depressing that grown adults are unable to celebrate their team's success with respect. The Glasgow City Council leader took to social media to share her thanks for clean-up crews after the Celtic celebrations. "We reported how 25,000 fans swarmed at Trongate to mark the club's Scottish Premiership title win. Fans were pictured climbing on traffic lights, bus stops and structures, while flares were set off and the street was littered with rubbish. Meanwhile, 19 people were arrested and 4 cops were injured, as Police Scotland said they had an appropriate plan to maintain public safety and minimise disruption to local businesses and communities. Susan Aiken posted on X, previously known as Twitter, saying, "Thanks to Glasgow CC cleansing teams for their overnight clean-up, but it is depressing and unacceptable that yet again a significant number of grown adults are unable to celebrate their team's success while also respecting fellow citizens and public property." Council officials commended the exceptional clean-up effort which took place. A spokesperson for Glasgow City Council said, "As crowds began to disperse, they left a substantial amount of litter, debris and broken glass in a wide area around Glasgow Cross. After an exceptional clean-up effort by our teams, the area is now clear, including the course for the Cancer Research UK Race for Life. There has been damage to infrastructure, such as bus stops and traffic signals, but we do not yet know the full extent of what repairs will be necessary. This kind of damage, disruption and antisocial behaviour remains unacceptable. It should be possible to celebrate and show a basic level of consideration for others in the city at the same time." Superintendent John Menzies added, "I would like to thank our partner agencies and the wider public for their support. Unfortunately, we experienced some disorder, including the use of pyrotechnics and alcohol-related offences. We took robust action to prevent these from escalating. Violence and assaults on members of the public or police officers is completely unacceptable, and we continue to work to identify those responsible." Report by Kirsty Feerick.
That concludes this week's edition of the Glasgow Times Sports Podcast. Please remember to subscribe to our channels at Q and Review and to tell your friends about our service